The era of war and occupation, the hidden history told by the people of the Philippines. Hello, in this video, we will take a look back at the history of the Philippines, with a special focus on the Japanese occupation during World War II, while also diving into how the people lived during different eras in Philippine history. Throughout its long history, the Philippines has been influenced by various external forces, but the Japanese occupation period stands out as a particularly unique time. Now, let's explore the history of the Philippines. 1. Ancient Philippines and indigenous societies. The earliest known inhabitants of the Philippines are the Negritos, who lived in a hunter-gatherer society. Around 3000 BCE, Malay and Indonesian people migrated to the islands, forming societies centered around agriculture and fishing. During this time, tribal societies were scattered across the islands, each with its own unique culture and beliefs. The Filipino people traded with Chinese, Indian, and Arab merchants, and while they were influenced by these external cultures, they maintained a lifestyle deeply connected with nature. Daily life revolved around farming and fishing, with families supporting each other in tightly knit village communities. 2. The Spanish colonial period, 1521 to 1898. In 1521, the Spanish explorer Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines, initiating the era of Spanish colonial rule. Spain spread Catholicism across the archipelago, and a society centered around the church was established. Spanish priests and missionaries were dispatched, and Catholicism became widespread throughout the country. During this period, the Filipino people worked under a landowner system, and many farmers were forced into poverty. However, the Catholic Church contributed to the establishment of schools and hospitals, playing a significant role in the development of education and healthcare. Particularly, Manila became a key hub for Spanish-Asian trade, flourishing economically through the galleon trade. 3. The Philippine Revolution and Spanish-American War, 1896 to 1898. In the late 19th century, the Philippine independence movement intensified, with revolutionaries like Jose Rizal and Ander S. Bonifacio calling for resistance against Spanish rule. Rizal's writings, in particular, had a significant impact on the intellectual class in the Philippines, spreading the spirit of independence. In 1898, the Spanish-American War broke out, and as a result, the Philippines was ceded to the United States. Though the country fell under another foreign power, the people's desire for independence remained strong. 4. American colonial period, 1898 to 1942. Under American rule, English became the official language, and an American-style education system was introduced. Many schools were established, raising literacy rates and fostering a new intellectual class among Filipinos. The United States also developed infrastructure, building railroads and roads, leading to the modernization of urban areas like Manila. However, rural areas continued to struggle with unresolved land issues, and the gap between landlords and tenant farmers widened. While American colonial rule brought modernization and some improvement in the people's lives, the demand for independence continued to grow. 5. Japanese occupation period, 1942 to 1945. During World War II, the Philippines was occupied by Japanese forces. Japan sought to govern the Philippines as part of its Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity sphere, but military rule was harsh, and severe shortages of goods and economic stagnation took hold, making life difficult for the people. Positive aspects. However, there were some positive aspects of the Japanese occupation. For example, Japan expressed a willingness to recognize Philippine independence, and in 1943, the Second Philippine Republic was briefly established. Although this was under Japanese influence, it provided the Philippines with the opportunity to have its own government. Additionally, some agricultural reforms were implemented, aiming to revise the landlord system. Japan also introduced improvements to the American-style governance system, attempting to promote self-sustained economic growth in the Philippines. Japanese language education was introduced in schools, providing some Filipinos with new knowledge and skills. Moreover, Japan's influence is said to have fostered a heightened sense of nationalism among Filipinos, which played a role in the post-war independence movement. Life of the people. However, Japan's military rule was harsh, and many Filipinos participated in guerrilla activities and underground resistance movements. In urban areas, food and supply shortages worsened, and many people suffered from hunger. 6. Post-war Reconstruction and Independence 1945. In 1945, the Philippines was liberated by Allied forces, and in 1946, the country officially gained independence. Faced with the challenge of rebuilding a nation devastated by war, Filipinos worked hard under difficult circumstances. After independence, the country embarked on agricultural reform and industrialization, though corruption and social inequality persisted. Life of the people. In the post-war period, especially in urban areas, the reconstruction of infrastructure progressed, and living conditions gradually improved. Land reforms also advanced in rural areas, though the landlord system remained an issue, and many farmers continued to lead difficult lives. However, with the spread of education and economic growth, living standards began to rise, and the middle class in cities expanded. 7. Modern Philippines challenges and growth. Today, the Philippines continues to experience economic growth, but faces challenges such as poverty, corruption, and social inequality. Terrorism and natural disasters also have an impact on the lives of the people, yet the Filipino spirit remains strong and resilient, with a forward-looking attitude toward the future.